Yo, what's up guys, it's King Sean here, back with another video, and in today's video, I'll be breaking down 4 realistic possibilities or options for the Washington Commanders at 16 for the upcoming 2023 NFL Draft. The draft is in 4 days. I'm super excited. I just posted my 5th mock draft yesterday. I'll probably come out with my sixth and final mock draft probably on Tuesday or Wednesday, the day before the draft. So stay tuned for that. But in today's video, I'll be just breaking down some options the Commanders could go with at 16. So if you guys are new to my channel, leave a like down below, subscribe, turn on notifications. On the road to 2K subscribers, so if you could hit the sub button, I'd really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so as you all know, the NFL draft is approaching very fast, 4 days away. Super excited for the NFL draft. I'm very excited for what we do, specifically my Commanders do at 16, because there's a lot of different options we could go in the first round with our 16th pick. We could go defense, cornerback, offensive lineman, or we could trade back. We could trade back, and there's gonna be some solid players. If we were to trade back, Deontay Banks, Brian Branch, Donald Wright might be there, Anton Harrison, and I'll discuss some of those guys in today's video, starting with Deontay Banks as an option at 16. Obviously, Maryland alum. Shout outs to him. 6 foot, 197 pounds, 31-inch arms, and 9 3/4 of an inch hands. 3/8 of an inch hands. Sorry. He has a 98th athleticism score. He has a perfect 10 RAS score, which is absolutely insane. Deontay Banks, he is a great cornerback. Obviously, I'm a Maryland fan. I watch Maryland games. If you just watch the tape, you can see how explosive Deontay Banks is. He's good in zone. He's good in cover 4. He's experienced in a wide variety of coverages. Outstanding size and length as outside cornerback. Lateral slide to the mirror and slow the release. And lower body is fluid and smooth to swivel from his pedal, and is capable of release disruption from press. So those are just some strengths from Deontay Banks. Like I said, he is a great cornerback prospect. He is my 4th cornerback right now. I think 4 cornerbacks at the very least are going to go in the first round. Those are Christian Gonzalez. He's ranked my quarterback number 1. Devin Witherspoon 2. Joy Porter 3. And Deontay Banks 4th. Could max 5, really. Emmanuel Forbes could go first round. He's probably going to go late first round if I had to guess. So that's that. Of course, he's going to have his weaknesses. I'll just read some. Step slow to anticipate route breaks from off man. Gets crossed up by hard route stems. Gives ground when making lateral transitions. And doesn't play with confidence when back is to the ball. So those are just, some weaknesses, but obviously he can be coached up once he gets to the NFL, obviously, and those weaknesses can be improved. So I love Deontay Banks. Right now, he's my number 1 guy. If the draft were to start today, the draft starts in 4 days, but right now, if the draft started today, I would for sure take him at 16. And we don't even have to take him at 16. We could trade back maybe like to the 20s, maybe 4 or 5 spots, and we'd still be able to get him. He's probably still be on the board. The only teams in the 20s that I'd see taking Deontay Banks are the Vikings and Giants, as well as the Ravens. If we just stay ahead of those teams, there's a very good chance we could end up with Deontay Banks if we want to do. He fits the scheme. He can play cover 4 well, which is what we run a lot, as well as zone coverage. So that's one of the issues I have with Jordy Porter. He's not going to be on this list because he's more of a press man corner. We mostly run zone. Now, obviously, Joey Porter, he has the instincts to play zone. And Penn State ran some cover 4, so he has experience playing in cover 4 defense. But just from the team's perspective, from Ron Rivera's, Martin Mayhew's perspective, I think they would settle on a guy like Deontay Banks or Brian Branch. Those guys are able to play cover 4 very well and play zone. Obviously, Joey Porter is too, but he's more of a press man guy, like I said. Even John Collins said on his podcast that it's not going to be Joey Porter Jr. at 16, so that's very interesting. It's really looking like we're probably going to settle with an offensive lineman or Brian Branch or Deontay Banks. I think it's very likely that we trade back. Like, I think if one of the top guys like Devin Witherspoon, Paris Johnson Jr. left tackle, or Christian Gonzalez, if one of those guys don't fall to 16, I can guarantee you we're trading back 100%. Well, maybe not 100%. Maybe in my opinion it's like 80-20 right now, or at 75-25 or 70-30. But yeah, I think if one of those guys are on the board, then we're probably gonna trade back, and we're still gonna end up when one of the guys, Darnell Wright, Joey Porter Jr. I mean, not Joey Porter Jr. Deontay Banks. We could still take Joey Porter Jr., but Deontay Banks, Brian Branch, Anton Harrison, Emmanuel Forbes, maybe if you want to take him. So, yeah, that's just my take, but that is my quick take on Deontay Banks. I would love him at 16, or if we were to trade back. All right, next guy I have on here who I've mentioned multiple times so far in this video so far, Brian Branch, Alabama, safety, really a DB because he can play multiple areas in the secondary. Obviously, safety where he's listed at, but he can also play nickel, slot. I mean, he can play anywhere for you. He can rush off the edge as a slot cornerback. So Brian Branch, he's a very, very good prospect. Now, he isn't really an athlete. His 40-yard dash time was a 4.58, which honestly isn't that bad. I mean, if you were to put it in an RAS score, I don't think it looked good. I think his RAS score is like a 5 point something or like in the sixes, which isn't great, but I wouldn't pass up on Brian Branch for his athleticism score. He's still an amazing prospect. He's the best safety in this draft. And this safety class it's very weak. It's a very weak safety class. Like if you need a safety this year, it's just not the year to just draft one. And Brian Branch, although he's a safety, we already have our two safety starting safeties, Cam Curl and Darren Forrest. But if we draft Brian Branch, he's gonna be our starting nickel cornerback. I mean, he's gonna be our starting nickel. He doesn't play safety 100% of the times. I could pull up the snaps right quick. I'll probably do that later, but I'm just gonna read off some of his strengths so far. His football intelligence. He has great football intelligence. It's through the roof. Has range and instincts to play single high safety. Fast, fluid, and very strong for his size. Obviously, like I mentioned, he can play nickel, slot, rush off the edge, pedals and transitions with smooth, agile feet, and is able to mirror and match patterns from off man. So those are very, very good, Brian. Those are very good strengths for Brian Branch. Like I said, he's not the greatest athlete. He's small. His small delay in finding first gear at the top of his drop, so that's one weakness. Another, becomes a drag down tackler when coming in too high, and occasionally outflanked as run defender from the slot. So they're just some small weaknesses, but to me, Brian Branch, very good prospect. I mean, besides him not being the most athletic guys and these just small flaws, he can easily be coached up. And in my opinion, if we were to add Brian Branch to Deontay Banks, we'd have a top 10 secondary. In my opinion, I feel like when everyone's healthy on our secondary, it's top 10. Cam Curl is great. When Cam Curl was there, our secondary is definitely top 10. Him, Derek Forrest, Kendall Fuller. This is his final year on contract, by the way. So that's interesting. Benjamin St. Juice. Danny Johnson is actually a pretty good slot, but when we bring Brian Branch, if we draft Brian Branch, he'll be our starting slot, starting nickel. So we usually run 5 DB, so he'd be our starting slot corner. But Brian Branch, great prospect. Nothing really bad about him, and comment your thoughts on him in the comment section. Next guy on here is Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright, in my opinion, is a top 3 tackle in this pretty deep tackle class. I mean, of course, there is kind of a fall off after the first 5 tackles are gone, like Paris Johnson Jr., Peter Skoronski. Although I personally see Peter Skoronski more as a guard than a tackle because he is 6'4". That is kind of undersized for a tackle. Kind of want to be 6'5" or 6'6". So I see him more as a guard. But there's him, Broderick Jones, Darnell Wright, Anton Harrison. So after those guys, it's kind of a drop off in tackles, but still, the tackle draft is very good. Darnell Wright, obviously Tennessee, played most of his snaps at Tennessee at right tackle. He played some at left tackle, but mostly right. 6'5", 333 pounds. production score of 78, athleticism score of 86. So he's very, very athletic. He ran a 5.01 40-yard dash, which is very impressive. 181 10-yard split, very good as well. Just gonna read off some of his strengths. Big body tackle who carries his weight well. He knows how to use it to his advantage. Bulldozer vibes when working double teams and combo blocks. Able to stand his ground through one-on-one power swaps. Jolts linebackers out of positioning with push. Adequate foot slide to catch inside movement. And uses length for forceful redirection and protection. Some weaknesses he has, however, gets very little bend in his 2-point stance, more bear hugger than technician at point of attack, below average hand resets and finish as run blocker, and more of a catcher than puncher. So Darnell Wright, I really like him as a tackle prospect. Now, the only thing interesting would be if we were to draft him at 16 or trade back to get him. We signed Andrew Norwell this offseason to be our starting right tackle. Ron Rivera said that. In a press conference he did. I think it was after we signed Andrew Norwell or a few weeks after we announced our signings of everybody we signed. If we were to draft Donald Wright, who played most of his snaps at right tackle, where would he play, left tackle or right tackle? We could make it work at left tackle and have him play left tackle. Start there, get used to it. If he's bad his first year, it's alright because it's really his first full-time starting at left tackle. He's a starter at right tackle in Tennessee. He plays sometimes at left tackle, but he was a starter at right tackle. So, or you could have Andrew Norwell move to right guard. We know you said, I mean, obviously Ron could say we said you were gonna be our starting right tackle, but we're gonna move you to right guard now that we drafted Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright could start at right tackle. It would be Darnell Wright at right tackle, Norwell. Not Norwell. Andrew Wiley at right guard. Center will be Chase Roulier. Left side, he can figure it out. Left guard, he can figure it out. Probably going to be a competition between Chris Paul, Sidney Charles, or maybe we draft a guy, maybe Stevensville in the second or something, or another guy in the later rounds. And then Charles Leno at left tackle. So that could be a real possibility, or like I said, we could make it work with Darnell Wright at left tackle. So those are my thoughts on Darnell Wright. Pretty quick. I like him as a prospect. I've been seeing some people have him go earlier than 16, actually. I've seen some people have him go to the Patriots, which I see as a very real possibility. I think the Patriots could actually go Brian Branch, too. So that could definitely happen. But let me know your guys' thoughts on Darnell Wright. And would you guys like him as a real possibility, a real option at 16 for the Commanders? And then my final option at 16, which I've stated multiple times throughout this whole video, is to trade back. I think it is very likely for us to decide to trade back in this draft class because when you look at so we're picking in the middle of the draft right now. We would be picking at 17, but the Dolphins had to forfeit their first round pick, so we're picking dead center, 16th pick in the draft. There's still going to be a lot of good players, a lot of good prospects available, but those same prospects are going to be available if we decide to trade back. Last year at 11, when we were on the clock, Jamison Williams, Chris Olave, Kyle Hamilton, those guys are still there on the board. We could have picked them, but we decided to trade back. With the Saints, we got a third-round pick from the Saints, 98 overall, and a fourth-round pick, 120, which I think we traded that into 2 fifth-round picks, and we obtained Sam Howell and Cole Turner from that. So that's really good. From the whole trade itself, we got Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson Jr., and Sam Howell, Cole Turner. So that's really good for at least three guys. Hopefully Cole Turner. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure Eric Bieniemy, like Scott Turner, we did not use tight ends last year at all. Blame Scott Turner. I'm 100% sure that Eric Bieniemy is gonna get our tight ends involved. Logan Thomas, John Bates, Cole Turner, Marty Rogers. I'm 100% sure of that. But anyways, I think trading back would be the best option for us because say we were to trade back with a team like the Chargers, which actually I mocked up a trade for us. I'll probably put it on my screen. But I traded, so obviously swap them first. They get 16, we get 21, as well as we got their 85th overall pick, which is the third round pick, as well as 125, and then we sent them our 16th overall pick and 118, which was our fourth round pick. So a swap of first and fourth, and then we get an extra third round pick. That will put us at a total of 9 picks in the draft. I think that's really good because there is just so much. There's a lot of talent in this draft. Obviously, there's a lot of talent in every single draft, but specifically this draft, where there's a lot of talent specifically in the DB room, offensive linemen. So, in not really linebackers, but there are some mid-round gems at linebacker I like. DeMarvion Overshown, Dorian Williams, guys like that. Cam Jones, so out of Indiana. So those type of guys. So we have to get as many picks as we can, and I feel like trading back would be the best option. A lot of fans actually want the Commanders to trade back, if not one of the top guys: Paris Johnson Jr., Christian Gonzalez, Devin Witherspoon, maybe even a quarterback, Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. If one of those guys are on the board, we could definitely 100%, well, not 100%, but like maybe 70-75% traded back as of right now. So that's my thoughts on trading. That's my thought on trading back. If not one of those guys on the board, I definitely think we should trade back. If not trade back, if we take Donald Wright or Deontay Banks at 16, I'd definitely be pretty fine with that. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like down below. Subscribe, turn on notifications on the road to 2K, like I said. So if you could get me there, I really appreciate it. Draft is in 4 days. Super excited. And other than that, it's me, King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.